Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing Neuvillette's pre-release. I will be looking at his entire kit to determine and see if he is going to be a good character. His release is about around 1 week from recording this video, so I just wanted to look at his kit to see how good of a Hydro character he will be. Okay, in some parts of this video you might see me with another shirt is because something had come up and I had to start the recording, but ignoring that, taking a look at Neuvillette, let's look at his base stats. His base HP at level 90 is 14,695. That is actually pretty nice compared to like the other HP scalers that we have in the game. His base attack is very low, but again, when taking a look at his kit, his base attack is gonna mean nothing. His base defense is 576 and his essential stat is crit damage at 88.4%, which is really good in terms of how you want to build him, which I will cover later on in the video. So let's get started by looking at his kit, starting with his normal attack. His normal attack lightly waves his cane, commanding the Titans to unleash a maximum of 3 attacks, dealing hydro damage. But the main thing about Neuvillette is going to be his charge attack. While charging up, Neuvillette will gather the power of water, forming it into a seal of arbitration. In this state, Neuvillette can move and change facing and also absorb any source water droplets in a certain AoE. Every droplet he absorbs will increase the formation speed of the seal and will heal Neuvillette. When the charging is stopped, if the symbol has yet to be formed, then a charge attack will be unleashed. If it has been formed, then the enhanced charge attack will be unleashed. His enhanced charge attack, Equitable Judgment, unleashes surging turns, dealing continuous AoE hydro damage to all opponents in a straight line area in front of him. Equitable Judgment will not consume any stamina and lasts 3 seconds. If Neuvillette's HP is above 50%, he will continuously lose HP while using this attack. Whenever these source water droplets spawn, which are these hydro looking orb things, that spawn by either using his elemental skill or elemental burst, will increase the speed of how fast you form the seal to unleash your enhanced charge attack, and also heal Neuvillette for around 60% of his max HP. When using his enhanced charge attack, if his HP is above 50%, then he will continuously lose HP for 8% of his max HP every half a second. Now, what this allows to do is to make him usable on the Monochosi set, which I will discuss later on. So looking at the numbers at level 9, his enhanced charge attack deals 13.45% of his max HP, which is actually really nice. If I remember correctly from what I looked at, his charge attack hits twice every hit, so this attack could be seen as double. But nonetheless, this is still really nice scaling for his charge attack damage. And for the HP restore, it's twice as much as what he will lose every half a second, which is also really nice in terms of like not needing to rely on a healer the entire time. Now taking a look at his elemental skill, O Tears I Shall Repay summons a raging waterfall that will deal AoE hydro damage to opponents in front of Neuvillette based on his max HP. After hitting an opponent, the skill will generate 3 source water droplets near that opponent. Okay, so his AoE attack skill damage 21.87% of his max HP, which is pretty nice. It's not that massive. The source water droplet duration lasts for 15 seconds, which is enough time, I would say, to basically utilize the orbs however you want to. And the cooldown of his elemental skill lasts for 12 seconds, which is not bad. And from what I remember correctly, you will want 3 droplets to basically immediately get your enhanced charge attack. And the skill is also nice because it drops 3 of them, which is enough to basically get your enhanced charge attack right away. Moving on to Elemental Burst. Oh Ties I Have Returned unleashes a rupturing wave that will deal AoE hydro damage based on Neuvillette's max HP. After a short interval, 2 waterfalls will descend and deal hydro damage in a somewhat smaller AoE. It will generate 6 water droplets within an area in front of him. At level 9, his skill damage is 37.84% of his max HP, which is fine, but for an elemental burst is kinda It's not that far off from his elemental skill damage, but nonetheless it's not the worst. The waterfall damage is 15.48% of his max HP, which is okay, I guess. The cooldown is 18 seconds and his energy cost is 70, which is actually pretty nice for his elemental burst. So overall, from his skill, burst, and charge attack, this is actually pretty nice. It's not the best compared to all the other Hydro characters that we have currently, but nonetheless, I think the way his charge attack works and functions is actually going to be pretty good. But in terms of his skill and burst alone, they're kind of like whatever. They're just nice in terms of supporting and enhancing his charge attack. by quickly giving him his enhanced charge attack, by giving him more heals because he does heal whenever he absorbs one of the droplets, and also just more ways to apply Hydro in more AoE type of attacks between his burst and skill. Now moving on to his passives, Heir to the Ancient Seas Authority. When a party member triggers a basically Hydro reaction, one stack of past Draconic Glories will be granted to Neuvillette for 30 seconds, max 3 stacks. Past Draconic Glories causes his enhanced charge attack to deal more of his original damage. The stacks of past Draconic Glories created by each kind of elemental reaction exist independently. Now this is actually pretty nice in increasing his damage. Before, people kind of got confused by a leak that kind of misinterpreted of how this worked. People thought that this was more damage on top of the damage his charge attack deals, but instead this is damage scaling off of his charge attack, so it's less better, but nonetheless it's still pretty good damage for his charge attack. His second passive, Discipline of the Supreme Arbitration. For each 1% of Neuvillette's current HP greater than 30% of his max HP, he will gain 0.6% Hydro damage bonus. A maximum bonus of 30% can be attained this way. Now this passive is actually really nice, more damage for his attacks, especially for his enhanced charge attack. So yeah, overall from what I saw, I think he's going to be a pretty good Hydro character. I don't expect him to be the best. I also don't expect him to be a top tier Hydro damage dealer, but nonetheless I do expect him to be at least a solid good Hydro damage dealer. Moving on to his constellations, in case you are interested in pulling multiple copies of him, his C1, when Neuvillette takes the field, he will obtain 1 stack of past Draconia's Glories. Additionally, his resistance to interruption will be increased while using his enhanced charge attack. Now his C1, people kind of have misinterpretation of this. People are saying that a lot of the value from his C1 comes from his resistance to interruption, but considering that he can move, it kind of has less value. It mainly is useful if you want to use his enhanced charge attack without moving around at all, or if you're not using Zhongli with him. However, I think the one thing that I think is better is that he gets 1 stack of his passive talent, which allows you to basically run 2 elemental reaction teams instead of having to rely on doing 3 in order to get the full stacks to increase the damage of his enhanced charge attack. I think his C1 is actually pretty nice, not that massive, but nonetheless is still pretty nice, I guess. His C2, this basically makes each stack of your passive talent increase his enhanced charge attack crit damage by 40% per stack, for a total of 42% crit damage, which is actually pretty nice. This allows you to not basically have more ways of increasing his crit damage in case you're having trouble building crit damage on your artifacts. But if you have way more crit damage than you will need, then this will allow you to go for an HP circlet instead of a crit damage circlet. But either way, his C2 is actually pretty nice. C3 increases his normal attack levels. His C4 allows him to basically generate a source water droplet every time he is healed. This occurs every 4 seconds. This is pretty nice, allows him to get more heals, but this is way more valuable once we get to C6. His C5 increases the levels of his elemental burst, and his C6 Raffle Recompress. When using his enhanced charge attack, Neuvillette can absorb nearby source water droplets in an AoE. Each absorbed droplet will increase the duration of the charge attack by 1 second. Additionally, when his charge attack hits opponents, it will fire off 2 additional currents every 2 seconds, each of which will deal 10% of Neuvillette's max HP as Hydro damage. Damage dealt this way will count as damage dealt by his charge attack. Now, his C6 is actually pretty nice. It allows him to basically use his enhanced charge attack continuously for a lot longer, considering that his elemental burst allows him to create 6 source water droplets plus 1, considering that he does generate 1 from his C4. This will allow him to use his charge attack, I believe, for at least around 5 to 6 seconds longer, depending on like what kind of rotations you are doing with him. But yeah, I don't think his C6 is that massive, but it is actually really nice in allowing him to continuously use his enhanced charge attack on field. But either way, I would say his constellations are really ones to go for. I would say if you want to go for multiple copies of him, I would just stop at C2 for the crit damage buff you would get from your passive talent. But nonetheless, his constellations are pretty nice. It gives him some buffs and some damage. So when covering everything about his kit and knowing and understanding of how he actually works, how would you want to build him? Well, it's very obvious. Alright, let's talk about the type of weapons that Neuvillette can utilize. His best in slot is going to be his 5-star signature Tome of the Eternal Flow. Has a very low base attack, but instead it gives him the highest crit damage substat you can get at 88.2% crit damage. It increases his HP and increases his charge attack damage when his HP increases or decreases, and gives him some nice extra energy on the side. So his best 5-star is definitely going to be his signature, but what about the other 5 stars? Well, there really isn't that much other options that I would definitely recommend. Obviously, Kagura's Rarity is also nice, mainly just for the crit damage main stat. Other options, Lost Prayer is also a nice option to use. Jade's Fall, if you ever pulled for that weapon, is also usable on him. But if you don't have a 5-star, what are the best 4 stars? There's really only a couple good options, like the newest Battle Pass weapon. This one is really nice because it gives you crit rate, and also the passive is also very usable with Neuvillette. It gives him a whole ton of max HP, and it also gives him a good chunk of Elemental Mastery, which is very good if you are gonna use him in Hyper Bloom teams. The 4.1 event weapon is kinda okay, but like not really that great because of the main stat being energy recharge. The passive is usable, but I wouldn't really recommend it because the best 4-star option for free to play is going to be Prototype Amber, mainly because the main stat is HP, which Neuvillette scales off of, but the 4-piece when using Elemental Burst regenerates for energy every 2 seconds for 6 seconds, and all party members will regenerate 4% HP every 2 seconds for this duration. So the passive is also very nice because it gives him energy and also increases his HP, which will benefit the 4-piece passive from Matachoshi set. And if you are wanting him to be more of a supportive sub DPS on your team, then you can use Favonia's Codex because this weapon is good on anyone basically. The 4-piece artifact set you want to put him on is the Matachoshi set. The reason being is because he is prioritizing his charge attack damage. And the way the Matachoshi set works is that the 2-piece increases his charge attack damage by 50%, which is basically the same thing as like elemental damage bonus 2-piece set. However, the 4-piece effect is when current HP increases or decreases, his crit rate will increase by 12% for 5 seconds, max 3 stacks, for a total of 36% crit rate, which is really nice. Now there are other options like Heart of Death, however that set isn't as comparable or close to the value that Matachoshi will give you because 36 crit rate is 36 crit rate, and Heart of Death gives him 15% damage bonus for all of his attacks, which is actually pretty nice. But the 4-piece effect after using his elemental skill increases normal and charge attack damage by 30% for 15 seconds. So overall more damage bonus. However, when you take in account of how the stats you will want to build for his substats, Matachoshi set allows you to sacrifice a lot of crit rate that you will want to get. Generally for a DPS character, you'll be able to build a lot more of the one stat you want to get Neuvillette, which is crit damage, and the amount of crit damage you will be able to build is far superior than the 30% of extra damage that Heart of Death will give you. You can also go for 2-piece, but generally you will definitely want to put him on Matachoshi set. But again, Heart of Death, 2-piece are fine options in case you are struggling to get a good Matachoshi set for Neuvillette. But again, this set is definitely the one you want to build for Neuvillette if you want to min-max him. Now with 4-piece out of the way, what substats do you want to give him? It's pretty obvious. For the main stats on the Sands, you want to give him HP. For the Goblet, you want to give him Hydro damage bonus. I know some people will say HP is a fine option. It would definitely work, but I generally won't recommend it because damage bonus is a lot more valuable. For Circlet, depending on your substats or depending on how you built him, it would definitely want to be a crit stat. Generally, you want to give him crit damage because the amount of crit rate that you get from the 4-piece set, which will lower the amount of crit rate that you definitely want to get on his substats to around, like, I would say 35 crit rate, 40 crit rate from your substats. For other substats you want to give him, definitely crit damage. Energy recharge is also very valuable. HP, you definitely want to give him a lot of HP for his damage. Elemental Mastery is also a very good choice because of the teams you want to definitely run with Neuvillette, which I will go into now. So the teams that you definitely want to use with Neuvillette, where a lot of them definitely rely around Hyper Bloom. and the reason being is because since he does continuous hydro damage from his charge attack, you definitely want to pair him with a elemental reaction that also deals continuous damage from continuous hydro application, which is Hyper Bloom. Hyper Bloom is a very good elemental reaction to utilize with Neuvillette because not only will his passive talent benefit from it, but will definitely make Neuvillette a very good hydro unit. The type of rotations that you generally will like to do with Neuvillette is use all of your character skills to activate Hyper Bloom, and once you're ready to utilize Hydro when switching over to Neuvillette, you will use his skill to generate the droplets for him to consume to enhance his charge attack. Once you use his charge attack, then you will use his elemental burst in case you're still using the other character skills to generate even more droplets to do the same thing. Another thing you can utilize with him is Burgeon, but Burgeon won't be as good because a lot of the pyro units like Toma won't be usable with Neuvillette because Toma utilizes normal attacks, whereas Neuvillette only utilizes his charge attack. So the only pyro unit that you could definitely use with Neuvillette in a Burgeon team is Xiangling. But Xiangling won't be as good because her Pyronado spins in a certain AoE. Depending on your positioning, she won't be able to hit all of the seeds that are on the field. So I wouldn't really recommend Burgeon teams, but another team that could be useful is Freeze teams. Now Freeze is basically easy to understand. You want to give him cryo units that does AoE cryo attacks like Rosaria, but generally I would definitely recommend Hyper Bloom teams because Hyper Bloom is a very strong elemental reaction. So overall, understanding his kit, understanding what his playstyle is, I think Neuvillette is going to be a very good character. Is he going to be the best Hydro character compared to all the other Hydro characters we currently have in the game? No, but I think he's still going to be a very solid option. So yeah, that's going to be my pre-release for Neuvillette. I am very excited for his release. I am definitely going to C6 him. I'm very excited for what he can possibly do in the game. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video to support it, check out my Twitch, the link will be in the description below if you want to check out my live streams. That's it for today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.